Dr. Bruins, as can be seen, we've now moved inside the chapel. And to begin with, let's talk about the interior structure and particularly the furniture that make this such a marvelous place.
I think the most important thing to note is that our pulpit furniture, or the furniture on the platform, both of the lectern and the chairs, were made in India in the 1920s at a mission school called Katpadi. It was a Dutch Reformed Church mission school there to train young Indians in a craft. So I think that's the most important part about the interior. We have our pews, very, very good pews over the years. And then over the years, in the almost 80 years now, there's been some modification.
Sure.
In fact, the platform on which we're seated now was extended a few years ago so that it can readily accommodate large choruses or orchestras and used for concerts very readily.
So the practical part of the furniture is also 80 years old, and it's been maintained well, and we just have kept this wonderful example of creativity and art.
Yeah. There's been some modification with the technical side now with our board out there for the microphones, etc. But it's basically as it was when it was dedicated in 1929.
Now, as we said from the outside, the windows are what make this such an amazing structure. What are some general comments about the windows? Where did they come from? How were they created? Tell us that story, please.
Dr. Dimnent went to the Payne Hardy Studios in New Jersey for crafting the windows. But whether he or they knew the person, but it was a European by the name of Signor Succi, an Italian who lived in Venice, who was the designer of the windows. Wow. He was his specialty was the medieval Europe cathedral, and so he was very aware of the cathedral windows in Europe. So when he designed them in particular, he brought a great background with him. Now I'm sure that Dr. Dimnent had a lot to say with them also, because of the symbolism and what went into the window. I imagine it would have been Dr. Dimnent who suggested that there would be 2 full-size figures in these windows. There are 6 windows on each side, 12 figures on each side, for a total of 24. The Virgin Mary Mother Mary is seen on both sides of that, so she's double, so there would be 25 people. Now, some of them are Old Testament figures like Moses and some of the prophets. The others are New Testament figures like the Apostle John, the Apostle Bartholomew. I think there's Andrew. There's also John the Baptist, sure, and people like that. So your 24 figures are biblical figures. Yeah. Then what you have to do too when you come in and look at the windows is to study the symbolism that you find at the mid-level, or the level midway, shall we say. And just as I look at one window, I see the symbol of the Bible, and I see a chalice. In another window, I see the anchor, which is an important symbol for hope. In another one, I see the descending dove. In another one, I see 3 lilies on one stem, a symbol of the Trinity. So you just go down up and down these windows and realize how much symbolism there is in them, to say nothing about the chancel window and the rose window.
So it wasn't just stained glass window that said, make this a beautiful place. Every window has an immense story to tell, and the creativity and the design was a powerful part of putting it together, and that we today sit and appreciate.
You really have to sit in the pews some on a nice day and just keep looking around to see the variety of the symbols that we have here.
And again, from the outside, when we mentioned the students use this regularly for chapel services, etc., but that kind of relationship and learning from these windows continues, and it's a powerful opportunity. Now, one quick story, if I may tell a story. We have pictures that show that as the building was being built, the structures for balconies down both sides of the chapel were structurally in place. But as the windows arrived, they realized the beauty of the window, and therefore the steel, the structure, was taken out for the side balconies so it would not interfere with the beauty of the windows.
Well, it's a very interesting fact, Frank, because as that picture showed, it would have covered at least 3 windows on each side, rather than the one window on each side. And those balconies would have added a great deal to the seating capacity. And if you think of them, the seating would have been very interesting. You'd have that whole oval or that horseshoe of balcony. But with good sense, they took that out, which had to have led to this major cost overrun, because he anticipated the chapel to cost $200,000 and it ended up at $404,000.
Now, if we can transfer our thinking to the chancel window, which is in itself a story that we want to hear in great detail.
I think it's second only to the rose window in significance. First of all, the focus is on Christ with the children, and is known for his blessing of the children, loving children, and saying, unless you are like a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Then on the side, just to our right, is a woman with two small children. Don't know who they represent, nor the couple just on the left side of that, but a man and woman with a child, again, coming to Jesus. Now, the one on the left, far left, are the three shepherds, I believe. Sure. And the symbol there would be that they were the first ones to hear of Christ's birth and came to the stable to see the Christ child. And the fact that one, knowing they are shepherd, is significant. So it'd be normal to have a lamb, but I would even pour more symbolism in that, in saying that when John the Baptist met Jesus, he said, "Behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." So you have that significance, I think, in that picture. Now, above each of the side windows, you have on the right, you have what is an R, and it looks like there's an X through it. Well, those are Greek letters, Chi Rho, and that's the Greek symbol for the name of Christ. And on the left, you have what appear to be three Latin letters, IHS, which stand for the Latin term for Christ. So again, I'm sure Dimnent, if not Suchi, would have had that kind of knowledge and would increase. So the chancel window really focuses on Jesus. And then the two insignia on either side, the Latin and the Greek terms for the term Christ the Messiah.
Elton, we have just talked about the majesty of the side windows and the chancel windows, and we now have the one window that stands out and without question is the best known, and that's the awesome rose window. So we're going to go up and take a look at that.